I think John's looking at options. I don't think it is necessarily out of need. I think it is to make sure that the funding's the most efficient for the A's.
Are you saying he's willing to fund it on his own, or?
He has the ability to do that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is there any concern about the site not being locked in on the 35 acres or so?
Well, the site's locked in. The exact location of the stadium is close, but not finalized yet. And we're not concerned about that now. It's not near the critical path yet, so we're pretty confident that they'll be able to figure out exactly where that stadium will be in the time frame that they need to make that decision.
Do you know if, or expect them to play any games at the ballpark here along with Sacramento when they move out of Oakland?
You know, what they've said is that they'll take a look at doing that, and I think it's certainly possible that some games will be played at the ballpark, but you know, they're still taking a look at that.
You know, Ed mentioned that the development agreement would be introduced this summer, so would that fall with the July meeting? Obviously?
Yeah, I think it's pretty likely that the development agreement will be introduced at the July meeting. We haven't really done a lot of work at all on the development agreement yet, so it's possible that it won't happen in July, but I think it's probable that it'll happen in July.
Right, you know, the Raiders one, that was the largest one, obviously, as far as the agreements go. I'm assuming this will be along the biggest one with the A's as well.
Yeah, and it's a little more complex than the Raiders deal is because we have a couple of different funding sources instead of a single public funding source in the Raiders deal, and that's caused an awful lot of red ink in an initial draft of a development agreement. So we're just working through that to clean that up. But we'll get to work on that now, and hopefully we'll have it in July.
Steve, speaking of the funding sources, when do you expect the Clark County Commission to vote on the $120 million?
Well, that is probably I don't know, first quarter of next year-ish, something like that. We have to get all of this done. We have to, show that the funding that the A's have to put up is available and irrevocable in the hands of a third party. All these documents need to be done. So it'll probably be shortly before they start construction, would be my guess. In the first quarter sometime.
2025? Yeah,
first quarter-ish. Their goal is to break ground in April of next year. So I would say shortly before that.
You feel like you need to break ground by March to hit the 2020 season open?
Well, they've said April of 25 in order to comfortably have enough time. I don't actually, the answer to that I think is no, they don't really have to. Allegiant Stadium was built in 31 months. I think you could probably get the ballpark built in a very similar period of time. It's a very similar and obviously a little bit smaller structure. Now, the design, I don't know enough about how to build that design and what that does to the schedule, so that may add a little time. But generally, I don't think they need to actually, if they don't start on April, they're going to miss their time frame, but they want to, and I completely agree with them. It'd be nice to be able to build it in the normal course instead of, hey, we only have this much time, we have to start doubling up shifts, working Saturdays, that kind of thing.
Another topic, 2027. It's been talked about a college football championship here at Allegiant Stadium. What can you tell us about that?
Well, what came out was premature. We are working with the CFP. We are responsible to respond to an RFP from the CFP by the end of July. As I said at our board meeting on Tuesday, we don't celebrate at halftime. We're at halftime. We've still got the rest of the game to play. So when we'll celebrate when college football playoff organization actually awards us the game.
The advantages of Vegas we know them certainly, they understand them?
Well, they knew it before the Super Bowl. They were here for the Super Bowl. And so they got to see what this city was able to do up close and personal. And we made a fantastic impression on everybody who was here for the Super Bowl, including them. So, you know, we're confident we're going to get a national championship game at some point. It makes a ton of sense. I think they feel the same way. But like I said, we've got work to do left. You know, it's different for the college football national championship than it is for the Super Bowl. We need to respond to that RFP. There's a lot of work to do in that. We need to work with our resort partners. We need to work with the county, the airport. You know, same thing. Different time, different situation. Make sure that we can meet all the needs, address every concern they have. But we're confident.
Have you talked to the NFL at all about another Super Bowl, a second one here?
Well, we certainly did about 7 minutes after the Super Bowl was played. You know, everybody in town wants the Super Bowl back as soon as we can get it back. And I you know, the commissioner said right after the game, the next day, it was a fantastic event. Rest assured, the game will be back. So we're happy to respond as soon as they're willing to take another look.
You said in the meeting that you felt like everything's going on time, or be confident you meet the deadline by 2020. What gives you the most confidence in that regard?
Well, you know, we've had now a year's worth of experience with the A's. It's been an easy, professional, productive set of conversations. Things are just moving at the pace they need to move. It has not veered off on tangents that we wouldn't expect or seem out of line or irrational, anything along those lines. I mean, it's just been a very workmanlike effort. I also am confident because we've been through this before. I mean, it really helps to have gone through all of this with the Raiders. We've got a template that's in place. It helps with these documents. It helps with just simply a list of all the issues that might come up. So both sides are just, you know, doing the work, and it's getting done, and we're on track, and we don't see any reason that won't continue.
Steve, how would you compare the Raiders stadium process with the A's stadium process so far?
Well, as I said, it was the first time we'd ever done something like that in Las Vegas, and obviously the first time the Raiders had done it too. And so we didn't have the benefit of, hey, here's a document to start this process with, or here's a list of everything that we're going to need to do in order to make sure that we don't run into, oh, we needed an easement there, or oh, we didn't know we had to do this, and now we don't have enough time to pull that off. So from that standpoint, it has been very beneficial to have gone through everything we did with Allegiant Stadium before we started working on the baseball stadium. Absent that, you know, both teams have done a great job. They've been solid, easy conversations. You know, there's areas of disagreement, and, you know, we've had, you know, a couple of sessions where, you know, the volume goes up a little higher than this, but not, you know, nothing significant. And everybody's just doing the work. And that happened during the Raiders process. It's happening now.
I've heard someone I talked to today was saying the Raiders or the A's have not communicated their plans well enough, and that's created some concern that are they really coming here? Are they really coming here by 2028? Do you wish they would be more vocal about what they're doing?
I think they've been pretty darn clear what they're doing. They're coming. They've said they can finance this stadium. They are going to play baseball here in 2028. I frankly think it's just fun to create some drama around it, and that's happening. You know, keeps all of our lives a little more interesting, but it doesn't change the facts on the ground, which is they've said what they're going to do, and they're just doing it.
Steve, there's been talk, you know, like the A's even said that it's more in the center of the stadium site is more in the center of the Valley's land. Does that have changed anything with, like, us came out of SB1? Are they is SB1 written that they have to stay in that back corner, or does it matter?
Now, SB1 just says it has to be on the Tropicana site, anywhere on those 36 acres.
So it doesn't change like the taxation or anything,
It-
wherever
it-
they move it?
It does not. It's the only topic really around the location of the stadium on that site is how to best maximize the use of the entire 36 acres and how to maintain a world-class premier stadium.
Steve, are you pretty confident the revenues generated from the TIF district will cover the Clark County bonds?
Yeah, we are. When we modeled that, or when they modeled that, but when we presented it at the legislature, one of the things that I pointed out is that modeling greatly underestimated in I'd say our view, but really our knowledge on the events that are not baseball. And the events that are not baseball generate more revenue by a lot per event, because most of them will generate a live entertainment tax. Baseball will not. So, there were 8 other events, really only 5 other ticketed events projected at the stadium other than baseball. We think that number's tripled by the time you go through a regular set of calendar years. So that is, it gives us an awful lot of confidence. It gives us some cushion in those numbers.
You had obviously had a big court win regarding the A's. How big was that? And the other issue about whether it's the Constitution by the Nevada Constitution, any concern along those lines?
No, we don't have any concerns. I kind of expressed that, I don't know, 8 or 10 months ago when some of those came out. It's certainly not a surprise for us.
We have time for 2 more questions.
Has the rodeo ever been mentioned as an ancillary event for that publicly, either with you guys or with the A's?
Yeah, there's been conversation. Really, with kind of any new venue that has come up, that conversation has taken place. I think it's taken place with the A's. I have not been in that. I don't really know where that stands or whether it makes sense. It's a great environment at Thomas and Mack. It's an intimate. When you've got 18,000 people there and it's still an intimate event, it's a pretty remarkable conflux of venue and an event. That probably would change somewhat in a baseball stadium, but I think it's certainly a possibility. But I don't know where that conversation is at this point.
You got asked this earlier. The Raiders' schedule came out yesterday, and now there is a game on the Sunday after F1.
Yeah, we like that.
You like that?
Yes, yeah, we do. We think that it is, I think, going, the properties outside of the circuit at the Formula One didn't do well during the last race. Having an NFL game on that weekend, when you have Formula One here, I think will serve those outer lying properties really well. We proved during the Formula One event that traffic, congestion, all those kind of things were not a problem the week of the event. It was some of the best traffic of the year during that week. And so we've got plenty of room in the city to do other things. And having the event, having that football game at Allegiant Stadium, we think is going to really help round out that week. And we really welcome people to come for what's going to be the most spectacular weekend of the year here.
Thanks so much, Dave.
Yeah, thanks, folks. Appreciate it.